Okay, so yeah, this has definitely been something I've been putting off for a while. I said I'd get to like spring of last year, and we're nearing the end of 2021, so sorry about that, but I'm gonna try something new with this video series. All these SMT anime reviews, I'm like, they're gonna be more experimental than most of my other videos, so it's definitely gonna feel weird, so I might come back to these one day. The reason why I put these video off for so long is that I really wanted to try something new, you know? Something that would be easier to make, and something I'd also have a lot of fun, like, you know, just recording and editing. But we'll see how that goes. For this retrospective, I'll just be posting a bunch of reviews of the SMT animes in their own separate videos, and eventually compile them into one huge video. So, SMT Shin Megami Tensei. Pretty big. The series has recently sold more copies than there are people on Earth, so it's not surprising there are TV shows, movies, and animations based off of it. They could be adaptations, original stuff, boring, reinterpretations, plain old shit, etc, etc, you know? So, are any of these worth watching? Probably. Which one should you watch? 2 of them. How many are there? Probably 6. Answers that are soon to come, but they aren't. So let's get into the Digital Devil Story OVA. So, the Digital Devil Story OVA, you know, based off the novel made by Aya Nishitani. Released March 25th, 1987, around a year after the original novel's release in Japan, and the same year Margaret Thatcher got re-elected. It was made by the studio Animate, which means that there's fuck all I could do for research. So, let's just move on. So, what is this? What is it about? It's a somewhat faithful adaptation of the original Megami Tensei novel. From what I've heard, the OVA doesn't capture the full scope of the novel, but I don't really care, at least not much, since I have not read the novel, and reading is something I do not know how to do. So I'm just going to be judging this as its own thing, and if you have a problem with that, feel free to send your complaints to this address once you decrypt it, and I'll get back to you soon. So our basic story setup begins with the transfer student Yumiko Shirasagi introducing herself to her new class. She has a bit of an interest in a particular student named Nakajima because she has absolutely poor taste in men. Aside from her bad preferences, Yumiko asks Nakajima if they've met before in the past, believing she knew him beforehand. Nakajima says no, telling Yumiko to feck off and not get involved with him, ever. This makes Yumiko pissed, and unlike the novel, she doesn't throw hands with Nakajima and fold his ass like an omelet. Yumiko, on her way out from school, feels a premonition that stuff just isn't all too right with her school. As she monologues, she catches a glimpse of her teacher who is staying unusually late after school today, and Yumiko, being the scamp that she is, follows her into the room she went to. There, she bears witness to a ritual going on involving Nakajima and her teacher trying to summon a demon, which eventually happens, just not right away. The demon Loki is summoned at some point and kills a lot of Nakajima's class, and nearly kills Nakajima himself. However, Yumiko, gaining the ability to fly, because, you know, she's a reincarnation of the goddess Izanami, flies Nakajima out of the school and then dies, making Nakajima sad. And then the rest of the OVA is just mainly dedicated to Nakajima and fighting Loki and doing his best to stop him from what he does, I guess. So, as for my general thoughts on the characters, well, first I should tell you not to expect much, and 2, let's just start off with Nakajima. He's pretty much just the Mark Zuckerberg of demon summoning. He's very distant and focused on the grind. He does not care about women at all. I thought, you know, I recently noticed online there was a lot of, like, Nakajima posting, you know, because of the stupid friggin' Sigma male meme. You know, I thought that was just, you know, a joke, like, oh, haha, this guy, he's funny. But no, it's actually pretty accurate to his character in the OVA, so that's interesting. Anyways, he wants to summon a demon. He wants to summon Loki to kill his enemies because, I guess he doesn't know how to throw hands. What a bitch. But, you know, I say that about him, but he's probably the most well-developed and interesting character by the OVA standards. Okay, so that might sound like high praise, but it really isn't. You know what? I'll get to that soon. Yumiko Jabami from Bukake Garui. She's nice and outgoing, but I don't know, I've seen this OVA thing like 4 times and I really can't say what she like wants to do, really. Maybe she just has a sense of compassion and like just personally wants to help people, but I don't know. Though she is a good analog for the viewer who has no idea what's going on in this thing. Like, seeing as we also, like, you know, have no idea what's going on, having us, like, learn as one of the characters does is a great way for us to, like, you know, kind of relate to what the hell's going on. But other than that, she's just kind of boring. I really did not care for her when she kicked the bucket halfway through. Sorry to all Yumiko fans out there. As for the main villain, Loki, yeah, he's Loki. Less of a trickster and more of an asshole who wants to be a real boy and cause havoc in the world, which he needs to do by killing humans for their magnetite. But, I don't know, they don't really do much to make me care, so I don't really care to say much about him. I don't know, I don't really hate him because I don't really think they wanted to you know, make him an interesting character. Though he does look cool though, I will give him that. And lastly is Yumiko's cat. I don't know why, but I love this stupid thing. It's so cool. She's blue, fat, fluffy, and I want one. Other than Nakajima and the cat, I don't really care about anyone else in this film. But as for, you know, the good of the writing, scenes are pretty good at setting a range of moods. You know, like scary, ominous, spooky, among other synonyms. There's just like this general sinister feeling that's like held throughout. And like, I'm particularly talking about the earlier part of it, because, like, since we don't know what's going on, and, like, you know, they have to, like, make us think what the f*** is going on with this place. And, like, you know, what's this Nakajima kid able to do? It's kind of strange what's going on with him. Especially all the stuff with, like, the demon, Loki, and, like, all that stuff early on. It's weird, and I like it a lot. As for the bad, though, development of many aspects do feel rushed. Sometimes shit just kinda happen. Like, Nakajima's development and motivations, it's all there, like, you know, why he is the way he is and why he did all this stuff. But it happens so fast and it's so easy to miss. It's something you'll only notice, like, if you've seen this thing 8 or more times like I did. But it's like, you know, the stuff is there, but it just needed to, you know, build up over time, instead of, like, you know, being in, like, the first 20 minutes of the OVA. There's also, you know, Nakajima's feelings for Yumiko, like, you know, he just didn't care about her whatsoever at the beginning. And then, as soon as she dies, he just starts crying, which I guess can make sense, because, you know, Izanami and Izanagi, they're reincarnations, but I don't care. That's, still pretty irritating writing. Also, a little earlier before that happened, you know, Yumiko being able to fly all of a sudden, like, you know, she's the goddess, but still, it's kind of fucking weird, but whatever. And my two most nitpicky points are whatever the flies were doing, because, like, you know, it's one of those things you'll just notice on, like, subsequent watches, like, oh, that's what they do. And there's also whatever the fuck Nakajima had and his teacher had going on, because, like, are they dating or not? Like, because it's definitely something more than just, you know, a teacher and student type of relationship, so what the fuck. And lastly, the other bad. For me, like, the worst part of this, though, is, like, just the later half of the OVA just feeling much less interesting from a writing standpoint. The great story is there, but it just feels, like, very crammed in at the beginning, like, all of the, like, development of the setting and stuff, and, like, what's going on with Nakajima, what's with the demons, you know, it's, like, all there, but it just feels so rushed, and, like, the later half of the movie just being spent between Nakajima and Loki fighting each other just feels kind of, it's still interesting, but just not as, you know, interesting, if that makes sense. Oh my god, how do I put this? You know, of course, like, a giant fight between a guy and Loki is gonna be huge and interesting, but I think if it's just that, for, like, most of the 20 minutes, it's just not gonna be able to hook me as well. Half of this OVA is pretty solid, if a little, you know, sloppy, whereas the other half is, you know, fine, but I think it's just something I'm gonna probably, like, my brain's gonna be turned off when I get to that part, you know? But that's honestly all I really have to say about the writings, aside from a few points I'll bring up later on with, like, when I get to your comments. As for the visuals, the animation, nothing special, but not particularly horrible. Either I wasn't paying attention hard enough during my 7 times watching this, or literally nothing stood out to me animation-wise. You know what? I'm just gonna go watch this again to just, see if anything does stick out.
1 minute later.
Okay, yeah, so like, other than like the weird goop shit, not much. It's not bad, but it's not like super memorable either. It is serviceable. Character designs are nice. The humans and demons look fucking sick. I like how Nakajima looks, very stoic and expressive, but yeah, he's cool. Other than, you know, Yumiko looking like Yumiko, she is a simple but, you know, still recognizable design. This gooey shit looks rad as fuck. It's weird and I like it. The demons are nice, Loki is buff as fuck, and Cerberus is Cerberus. With that, I have run out of things to really say about the designs. And you know what, thinking about it a little more, I kind of take it back. I think the designs are just serviceable. Like, other than Nakajima and the gooey shit, Yumiko, Loki, Cerberus, and pretty much all the other human designs, well, you know, those are just like background characters. They're just serviceable. And yes, I could change my opinions midway through recording. As for the coloring and composition, the two aspects are the best part of the OVA. It's really good. Like, there are a bunch of scenes I could point to, so how about I just make a 5-minute section on how cool the scenes look without any commentary whatsoever? Ha! No, I'm not gonna do that. I hate when people do that. It's so dumb. Unless you want me to do it, then just comment below. But yeah, as for the scenes that I do like, going back to like the fucking shit with Nakajima, the scene where he's getting like beaten the fuck up and it's like this very bright hue of like reddish orange. It's just, ooh, it's so brutal. The blue like lighting of the scenes in the computer lab, those are cool as hell. It definitely gives off that like sort of technological vibe that I think goes really well with this you know, technology centered OVA. Oh my god. But yeah, it's just, I think the coloring is one of the coolest parts of this, because when it is good, it is really good, and I like looking at it. Like, I'd get if I could find a cell of this for cheap, I might get it. The composition though, that's mostly serviceable if I'm being honest. Like, shots are never really confusing, but never really stand out aside from a few instances I'm currently showing. Or not showing, because I really don't remember actually. So, I guess it's just forgettable? Okay, yeah, it's just the coloring, that's the best part of this, so... But what about the audio? The music... Music is pretty memorably bad, but it's also cheesy. I can't hate it. It's like literal Wiggles type music, but you know, pretty, you know, once again forgettable. Otherwise, though, the sound effects, those are awesome and cool as fuck. I love the weird 80s as hell computer sound effects, and how Cerberus just sounds like a Gen 4 Pokemon, you know, either Torterra, Staraptor, Garchomp. One of those three, or I could be missing one, but you know, just those. One of those sounds, you know, that more shrill, you know. Oh, and also the credits reminded me of Symphony of the Night. It's very out of nowhere and makes me wish I was playing that instead. And I don't think I mean that as an insult, because Symphony of the Night is a really good game, you know. As for the accessibility of the anime, no. Yeah, no, there are no recent re-releases of the OVA, meaning Aya Nishitani isn't making much, if any, money from this. There was like only one international release, I think, and I think it was in Europe at some point. No surprise it's only subbed, which, how many of them have been only subbed? Honestly, at this point, every SMT anime I talk about, I'm just gonna dub myself if it doesn't have an official dub. So, expect a one-take dub of this OVA at some point in the future. It's gonna be spectacular. You know what? Okay, but before ending this off, how about we get into your thoughts? You know, I put out a community poll asking you guys about what do you guys think is like one of the weirdest moments in this anime, and I will read them over. Nico here says that one scene where Nakajima's bullies had her coochie bitten by one of the possessed students. Yeah, that was brutal as fuck, honestly. Like, there's a lot of fucking weird shit in this, like, OVA, but, like, you know, decapitation and stuff, like, that's weird, but also coochie biting is probably the one I least expected, so it definitely caught me off guard most. So, I guess good on you, Digital Devil Story? Manuel T said, that fact that they're on the third day of the moon falling, yet no one seems too stressed about it. I mean, what if the moon wasn't, like, falling and it was just that big? Like, everything about that world was the same as ours, except the moon was just extremely big. Also, it was just a Majora's Mask reference. Bored Choco says, the Nakajima beat-up scene was super brutal and sad to watch. Or probably the scene where Nakajima meets Yumiko and acts like a weirdo. Well, you kinda fucking disobeyed my rules, you piece of shit, and said two things, but I don't care, I like you, so I will just talk about both of the things you mentioned. Yeah, the Nakajima beat-up scene was really well done. You know, once again, going back to the coloring and, like, the sound design, it's, like, very crunchy. Like, this guy, you know, he doesn't have much, like, physical strength, is just getting his shit kicked in, and it's kind of like, ooh, you'd really want to see him, like, you know, get back up and sock the bullies, you know? Or, like, you know, are they even bullies? They're just kind of, like, people Nakajima probably fucked with in the past. Also, yeah, that scene where Nakajima met Yumiko, he's so fucking stupid. Like, I don't mean that it's, you know, bad, but it's just so funny, because he's just so dismissive of her. It's just like, he's like, damn, I kinda don't care. As for Dark Horse, Lady Your Eyes, the ending song. Otherwise, after watching it, I thought, that's almost 30 minutes of my life that I'm never getting back. Well, yeah, I definitely agree with you about the ending song, and, you know, I mentioned how it reminded me of Symphony of the Night, mainly just because of how fucking weird of a contrast it is. With all the other weird music and, like, sci-fi, you know, themes of this, you'd really expect something weirder to happen. But no, you just get Symphony of the Night credits. But I guess you didn't like it, which sucks to hear because, no, I actually understand. It's definitely, not the best thing to ever exist. Hiho says, I just remember that was more entertaining than reading it, since the manga is a bit weird and honestly not good. Also, the second novel is fine, but it could have been better. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read the novel, so I can't really say there. It's definitely entertaining, but not good. At least, you know, in some aspects, but yeah, definitely entertaining. Simon Fisher, the absolute goat with the Dreamcast PFP, says, all the weird Loki computer flesh stuff looked really cool and was well animated. I agree. You are getting a heart from me. Stay cool, Simon Fisher. And lastly, we have a comment from Tony For You, who recently hit 1,000 subs, so I am very happy for him. He said, when Nakajima looked at me, funny Sigma male. I agree. I'm gonna give that comment a like. But you know, with that, my final thoughts on this, you know, I might have already said this, but it's pretty damn... Despite the pretty cool art, the anime is just marred by blowing its load early on, lack of good conveyance, forgettable and sometimes just strange music choice, and pretty scrappy characters, aside from, you know, Nakajima. But that is not to say I didn't enjoy my time with this OVA, I did. It's just really easy to see the seams holding it together, especially after watching it 5 times. Don't listen to whatever Dark Horse says. Fuck you, Dark Horse. I hate you. You should totally watch the Digital Devil Story OVA, but if you have homework due soon, I recommend just doing that instead, because that is probably going to be more important and beneficial to your time than watching this. But if you do get your homework done early, then watch it. Anyways, I'm done for now. I'm gonna make some rice and beans for dinner as I'm hungry, and I am recording this at 3 in the morning. Thank you for watching, and remember to keep up on your Sigma grind.